And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. On today's episode, I want to go over the different slabs for the different grading companies. So, obviously, we have PSA, CGC, Beckett, and GMA. And go over the strengths and weaknesses as the market stands right now for these different grading companies. And I've mentioned before in previous videos that I'm currently working on a graded card collection of Raichu. Raichu is my favorite Pokemon. This is my favorite card of all Pokemon series. And I'm trying to work on a graded set from 1 to 10. So I just pulled out a couple that were similar in grade. So we got 2/8, 8.5, and the highest GMA I had, which dictated these three, was this 6.5. So kind of just to go over the slabs, I think obviously everyone knows the major weakness with PSA right now, and that's just turnaround times. Their cards have very high perceived value for their grades. Their grading is far from perfect, and if PSA honestly was able to keep up with the amount of cards that they're receiving for grading, I think, at least CGC and GMA wouldn't really be an option. Beckett maybe would still be an option, but turnaround times right now with PSA is pretty bad. So yeah, that's her weakness. A second weakness is it's a weird thing. Either people love these labels for PSA or they hate them. This is one of the newer labels. I'm not a huge fan of these labels. I think they're kind of plain. Now for CGC, their weakness is just being new to the space and not new to grading, but new to trading card grading. So there's still a little hesitation from people on whether or not they can trust CGC. But after examining this 8.5, I feel pretty comfortable with their grades. Their slabs are pretty nice. There were some videos online where people were just able to open them, but I haven't really noticed that. And I think this is probably the highest quality of the four slabs is this one. Now, Beckett, it's always going to sort of be a number 2. So for the Beckett, obviously, we have a first edition Raichu base set, first edition cards, and this is actually a thin stamp. And when I think first edition, this is the stamp that comes to my mind is that thin stamp. And I'm not a huge fan of thick stamps. And the gray stamps are cool to have, but when you think of first edition cards, I always think thin stamp. Like that's what you picture. But anyways, Beckett holders are the smallest of the four. And if we line them up all next to each other, I have all the bottoms, flush. You can see there is, a substantial height difference to the different cards. GMA being the tallest. PSA's right here, that's the second. Third, we have CGC in height. And fourth is that Beckett slab. But the Beckett slab is very nice. It has a lot of weight to it. And all in all, it's a pretty sturdy slab. I think the plastic or whatever they use to create this card is very visually appealing, meaning you can see through the card. There's no type of frost or anything on the plastic, which is pretty awesome. And then, last, I've done multiple videos now on GMA returns. If you haven't had a chance to check out those videos, I had a 215 graded Pokemon card submission return video from GMA. This actually was one of the cards in there. GMA's huge weakness is a few things. One, their label, I don't know if you can see it, but it's more or less cut out. It's not as smooth cut as some of the other labels. Their cases are probably the weakest of the three companies, and weakest meaning just like quality of the slab itself. But as for grading, GMA gets, how do I put this? They get put down a lot, and their cards don't have the quote-unquote perceived value as, say, a PSA, which there's like this misconception. It's like, well, a PSA 10, or sorry, a GMA 10 is a PSA 8. And that's not really true. So that's GMA's big weakness. And the cost to grade cards at GMA is cheaper. So people instantly think cheaper means inferior. And that's not really the case at all. But anyways, I don't want to, focus on GMA too much. I just kind of want to go over the slabs real quick with you guys. And, we'll talk about just submitting the cards and right now what I think the best option is. And it's not going to be PSA. It's not going to be GMA unless it's your really cheap, commons, uncommon cards. It's not Beckett right now unless you think maybe you could get a real good pristine 10. I think right now, and I don't quote me on this because I'm still waiting on my return from CGC, but I think with turnaround times and bulk submission costs, CGC is actually probably the new go-to for Pokemon grading. And CGC is picking up traction with the Pokemon community faster than I've obviously seen any other companies join, especially, GMA, which is really struggling right now. I think it's a lot of content creators out there kind of bashing them for undeserved reasons. But CGC might be the new go-to Pokemon grading card company. And I've heard some content creators say they don't like the CGC label. I actually think it's a pretty nice label. And when you line it up against the 4 slabs in the background, what do you guys think is the one slab that pops out the most? And leave a comment down below if you're on the same, boat as me and you think that the CGC slab is the one that pops the most. The gray just, it pops out at you. And I don't know. There's a lot of PSA lovers out there, and trust me, I'm a PSA lover because I loved grading cards, and PSA was more or less the first to do it. So I fell in love with them that way. But I'm definitely not in love with the label. And the CGC label is looking pretty awesome to me. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. But if you guys want me to actually go through the different quality of the grades in another video, let me know. And if you guys want to see a little bit more of my first edition base set graded, let me know. I have Shadowless, I have Unlimited, I have so many of these cards. Like I said, I'm working on that 1 through 10 graded set. But anyways, and if you guys had a chance, please please subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos for more Pokemon content. And I'll see you on the next one.